Have you ever wondered why 50 Cent used to wear bulletproof vests on stage?
How many times have you been shot?
9 times.
9 times. You wear a bulletproof vest now most of the time, I believe.
Yeah, in the States, just because I've been shot myself, you know, and I've seen Tupac and Biggie Smalls situation where all their wounds were inflicted in areas that would have prevented their death if they had those
Yeah, because it's mainly the body shots here. Do you wear anything over the what we call the family jewels in this country?
Nah, really. You know what? I kind of got that covered.
Have you? There you go.
You see, in the early 2000s, after dropping Get Rich or Try Dying, 50 Cent was perhaps the biggest rapper in the industry. This was the 50 Cent era. 50 and his group, G Unit, were also known for wearing bulletproof vests. However, they weren't wearing it because it was just an excellent fashion choice or because of a particular artistic concept. 50 and the rest of G Unit wore bulletproof vests because...
Where were you shot? Which part of the body? Where did the bullet
Oh, man, I got shot in my hand. My thumb came out of my hand, my face.
Shot in the face?
Yeah.
And where did that come out?
Like the two.
Wow, oh my goodness, there's a hole there.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm surprised the bullet went through there, but it's...
This incident of 50 Cent getting shot happened way before he ever became a star. 50 was shot in both legs, chest, hip, arm, jaw, and hand. This shooting also showed that the person who came for 50 wasn't looking to rob him. Instead, it was a clear case of attempted murder. 50 claims that the shooting is what gave him the voice that sells millions of records.
Yeah, it kind of changed my voice too, and this is the voice that sells 8 million records, so I think everything happens for a reason.
What a positive outlook to have. You get shot right in the face, and you say, well, you know what, I'm now...
50 Cent was shot so bad that it seems one of the bullets could still be felt in his tongue.
I got, shot 9 times, but it was one time.
But the 9...
Where were you shot? Where?
Like in front of my grandmother's house.
But where on your body?
A fragment portion of it is in my tongue, so it kind of changed the way I speak a little bit. Like.
And you're rapping as well.
Yeah.
What is it still in your tongue?
Can you see it?
Yeah, it's great for oral sex.
Is it?
Let's have a feel, 50. Oh, yeah, I can feel it.
50 Cent was also shot because of a rap and street beef. This was during the period when 50 Cent was still in the streets. He wasn't the mogul you know now. He was simply a young, hungry rapper from South Jamaica, Queens. In fact, during this period, most people in the streets actually knew him as Boo Boo and not 50 Cent. The young 50 Cent also used to sell drugs. He was a small-time drug dealer, but the man who was truly selling dope and raking in a shitload of money was Kenneth McGriff, aka Supreme. Supreme was the man in the streets, the top dog and the closest example of success that men like 50 Cent had around them. This is why at that time, he was like a role model to 50. Supreme was the drug kingpin, and he had a crew who ran his business in the streets for him, and they were known as the Supreme Team. Some reports state that under Supreme's leadership, the Supreme Team had hundreds of members. However, the leaders of the Supreme Team were Bimmy, Puerto Rican Righteous, Gerald Miller, aka Prince, who was Supreme's nephew, and Black Just, who was actually a good friend to 50 Cent. At some point, 50 reportedly wanted to be a member of the Supreme Team, and it's easy to see why. Some sources state that the Supreme Team were reportedly making as much as $200,000 per day. However, Supreme was arrested in 1987, and in 1989, he pleaded guilty to controlling a criminal enterprise. So, Supreme was sentenced to 12 years in prison. He was released on parole in 1994 after serving about 5 years of his sentence. After Supreme became a free man again, he didn't want to go back to the pen ever again. He decided to quit the white powder business. Instead, Supreme decided to rebrand himself. This time, he chose to go into hip-hop. Hip-hop had entered into its golden age by the time Supreme was released from prison. There was a lot of money to be made from it. Supreme wouldn't have to worry about Uncle Sam coming after him. He wouldn't have to worry about enemies in the street, and it would all be legal. So, it was a no-brainer for him. This was also the same time that 50 Cent was an up-and-coming rapper. 50 was signed to Columbia Records. He was no longer focusing on the streets. Instead, he was making his way in the music industry and earning his stripes in the booth.
Bottom line is, I'm a crook with a deal. If my record don't sell, I'm a rob and steal.
So while 50 Cent was still an unknown name, Ja Rule was already an established name. Therefore, it was no surprise that Supreme decided to pitch his tent with Ja Rule's label, Murder Inc.
It was the most notorious rap record label of the early 2000s. With a string of chart-topping hits,
backed by a sound and image that crossed over from the streets to pop culture. Led by hip-hop mastermind and producer Irv Gotti.
This was the right move for Supreme. Business was good, everyone was making money, as Supreme was making a lot of money by partnering with Murder Inc., or perhaps cleaning enough money. There were some rumors that Supreme was allegedly using Murder Inc. to launder money. After some time, Ja Rule and 50 Cent began having issues. Ja's chain was snatched while he was shooting a music video in 1999. The chain was stolen by a friend of 50 Cent called Big Nose Troy. Supreme helped Ja Rule get his chain back, but not long after this, 50 states that Ja Rule saw him hanging with Big Nose Troy and thought he was involved in the robbery.
A friend of mine's robbed Ja Rule. And I'm in a club, and I see the nigga, I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, I'm chilling. He see me kicking it with the nigga that robbed him, and he feel like, oh shit, I shouldn't speak to this dude, because I know the kid robbed him, but I know this kid, I grew up with him.
However, according to Ja, their beef began because he and the Murder Inc. crew gave 50 the cold shoulder while shooting the video to the song Murder for Life. 50 talked to Supreme about the issue because he knew they were doing business together. But Supreme allegedly said to him, yo, leave this little dude alone. You know they pussy, but this is my food. However, you know 50 was never going to back down. Instead, he called out the whole Murder Inc. crew, including the label boss Irv Gotti.
So yo, 50, what's the definition of a wankster, man? I mean, what is that?
Ja Rule, Irv Gotti. I'll tell you personally, the Murder Inc., the people that you see like Irv, Ja, the people that are involved in the business aspect are bitches. Like these niggas don't got no hood in them.
The beef became even more serious because Ja Rule wasn't backing down either.
He's nobody. He's this person. Right, this person we're talking about, he's no one.
Ja saw 50 as a nobody. He already had a platinum-selling album while 50 Cent hadn't even released his debut album yet. The two rappers met at the Swiss Hotel in Atlanta as they were both booked to perform at the same show. The duo were encouraged to settle their differences, but the situation only got worse. The duo got into a fight, 50 punched Ja in the face, and he couldn't perform for the night because of his black eye. And since Ja wasn't able to perform, that means Supreme's money was affected. 50 also managed to steal Ja's chain during the fight, and he even wore the chain in the video of the diss song, Your Life's on the Line.
Nobody likes me.
I don't believe you murder. Fuck around and leave you murder.
Supreme eventually collected the chain from 50 Cent, even though he allegedly got a watch in return. Even though 50 clearly respected Supreme, he still was creating problems for him as he was constantly dissing his artist. 50 simply feared no one.
Supreme came to the block. That might have been the day Nas, Black Just brought Nas up here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I've been around real niggas. You know what I'm saying? E-Money Bags, I've seen niggas. E-Money Bags, you look at him, skinny nigga, killer.
Supreme came to the block.
Supreme came to the block, 50 up there. Supreme dude, you know the old school shit. You know what 50 did? Yeah, my nigga.
Do it back, yeah.
Yeah, my nigga. Oh, you know what the block did?
Yeah, that's what
oh! That's when I knew 50 didn't give a fuck. And that's when I knew Supreme didn't like 50.
Because of this beef, Irv Gotti tried to blackball 50 in the industry, and this affected the growth of his career. The beef got physical in March 2000. 50 was recording in the Hit Factory building. Ja Rule was also recording in another studio in the same building. When Ja heard 50 was in the Hit Factory studio not far from him, he convinced his homies to go and jump him. During this fight, 50 was stabbed by Murder Inc. rapper Black Child.
Beef is when you see a nigga in this fucking studio or wherever, and the nigga wanna talk, and niggas was like, nah, ain't nothing to talk about, right? It's like 5 of us and 5 of them, and niggas is getting it on and fighting and bang. Some way, somehow, the lights got hit off, and niggas was getting it on in the dark.
Black Child was arrested for stabbing 50. A restraining order was also issued for 50 Cent against the members of Murder Inc. This began the rumors that 50 is a snitch. The rumor became even more intensified when 50 dropped the song Ghetto Quran.
Forgive me for I've said over and over again.
50 mentioned not just Supreme's name, but every major dealer in Queens. And for Supreme, he classified this as snitching. What makes this even more interesting is that Supreme allegedly even had a line in the intro of the original version of the song before it was released. And this is why his reaction to the song when it was released was quite confusing. 50 stated that the idea of the ghetto Quran wasn't about him snitching. Instead, he was only showing respect to the OGs in the street. He explained that everything he said on the song was already in the book when crack became king, which means that everything he said was already public knowledge. So 50 had continuously dissed his artist, and now he was exposing his business to the world. Supreme decided he had had enough, and this is why he allegedly paid a hitman to get rid of 50 Cent. Supreme paid $25,000 for 50 Cent to be killed. 50 was shot 9 times in front of his grandmother's house on the 24th of May, 2000.
Right behind me is my grandmother's home. I came out like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, May 24th. She was bent over, actually planting flowers in the garden, and I walked over here to sit in the actual vehicle that my friend was waiting for me in, and the car pulled up. On the side of us, a guy got out the passenger seat of that car, came around behind it, and shot through the actual car.
50 had a swollen tongue, a broken leg, lost his wisdom tooth, and this is also what led to his slurred voice. He was kept in the hospital for 13 days before he was eventually released.
What does it feel like to be shot? Is it a physical feeling?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt as much as people imagine it hurts because of your adrenaline and how the shock of what's actually going on. It hurts after.
Did you feel the first one or the 9th one?
I don't even know. I didn't know my legs were broke.
50 Cent was shot by a man known as Daryl Hamo Baum. Baum was a friend and former bodyguard of Mike Tyson. But it wasn't just 50 Cent that Supreme tried to kill. He also ordered the shooting of E. Moneybags and Big Nose Troy. 50 spent 13 days in the hospital after he was shot. He only survived because none of the bullets hit his vital organs. The fact that 50 survived and managed to stay alive was a major surprise to many people. In fact, Irv Gotti claims 50 Cent was saved by the devil.
It's an engine of chaos. You know, certain people say, you know, you get shot here, right? He got shot in his mouth. You're like, that's inches, right? This is just me talking, everybody. It's not a thing, but you know, who saved him? People be like, God. Your first thing is, yo, God saved this guy. Maybe the devil, maybe Satan saved him, because he's a great engine of chaos. I don't think God would save somebody who moves like that. Sounds like he's with Satan to me, man. I think, you know, Satan was like, I'm gonna use you. You're gonna be great for me.
50 lost his deal with Columbia Records, and this is why his album, Power of the Dollar, which would have been his debut album, was never released. However, getting shot 9 times would do severe mental damage to anyone. 50 Cent stated that he was never the same man after this. Instead, he was obsessed with getting back at the people who tried to kill him. 50 stated, after the actual shooting, I went through a period of me actually being afraid because I was hurt physically. I was hurt bad. I was afraid and uncomfortable with being afraid. And the only time I wasn't afraid is when I was actively involved in actually looking for somebody connected to it. 50 Cent became so paranoid after this shooting, and because of this, he began wearing a bulletproof vest even after he became famous.
9 times, okay. So you wear a bulletproof vest now most of the time, I believe.
Yeah, in the States, just because I've been shot myself, you know, and I've seen Tupac and Biggie Smalls situation, where all their wounds were inflicted in areas that would have prevented their death if they had.
Yeah, because it's mainly the body shots here. Do you wear anything over the what we call the family jewels in this country?
Oh, nah, you know what? I kind of got that covered.
Have you? There you go.
50 explained that the shooting changed him forever. It shifted me. It's when you get hurt that bad, either your fear consumes you or you become a bit insensitive and you start to approach the problem instead of running from it. Supreme was convicted of murder for hire in February 2007, and he is currently serving a life sentence. 50 eventually signed a deal with Aftermath and Eminem's Shady Records. And I don't even need to tell y'all how successful 50 became. In fact, he recently did a world tour where he visited over 50 countries and multiple continents. For Ja Rule, I'm just gonna end it with this. Just play the clip.
You had a beef with, or have a beef with Ja Rule?
It's an old school. That's an old.
But I understand that. But I understand in October you did something to get back at Ja Rule.
Yeah.
And please tell the people what you did because this is quite.
I bought like the first 4 rows in his concert.
You bought the first 4 rows in his concert?
Yeah, they was like on Groupon for $15. It wasn't a big deal.